Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. Hi to the last quarterfinal of the Genshin Rank Season 4. I am your host today, Levy, and joining me today is Eliza.
Hello! Today's matchup is going to be our number one seed, BLG, versus JA, who is a completely new team to ranked. How are you feeling about the match, Lemmy? Do you have any predictions? Who are you rooting for?
Oh, this is a really interesting match, I think, because BLG being one of the forerunners in this tournament is definitely a really strong opponent for JA, which is one of the rising teams from EU. And also, well, JA is the last EU team that is in the run in this season, so there's definitely a lot on their shoulders.
Oh, absolutely. Reminder that BLG was the winner of last season of Genshin ranked season 3. And I have to say, personally, as much as BLG is very qualified, they're a great team, I really feel like I'm rooting for JA here. I love an underdog, and I'd love to see an EU team progress further into the competition, especially since the other EU teams at this point have all been eliminated, such as HOS, such as Ruby in yesterday's match. Now, if you look at the bracket, you'll notice that whoever wins this match today is going to have to go up against TGT, who was the winner of their match yesterday. TGT was very high seeded this season. They did very well last season, making 4th place and even 3rd place in the previous season. So they're a tough opponent, and if BLG ends up winning this match and coming out of here, they're going to have to go for a rematch against TGT since they fought off in this same exact slot, the semifinal slot last season, and one of them won't be making it to finals. All right, I think we can take some time to talk about the rules then. Just a little overview of how ranked works. Would you like to introduce the rules, Lemmy?
Sure. So instead of the previous best of 7 bosses round in the Swiss stage, we are changing things up in the playoff stage. Right now, we are using a best of 2 sets format where each teams get to play as both as Team 1 and Team 2. They will switch sides in a 5-minute intermission between, and 12 bosses will be played. In the event where each team's wins 6 bosses, we will go to a overtime where both teams will face against the Eon Blight Drake to determine the winner. The first team that gets 7 boss wins will advance to the semifinals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the boss draft is what makes Genshin Ranked feel really unique because you sort of get to pick bosses that favor your team, that play to your own strengths, and as long as you can snipe one of the other team's bosses, you can really, win and get your way to, or even get that way to your way to overtime if you don't win one of their bosses, by just like really playing what you excel at. I think now we can introduce the teams. We're going to start with JA. So JA, we've got Johnny, we've got Khan, we've got Alhex, we've got Zalox. If you'll notice, their signature units are actually all members of a Molani team. Molani is what JA really excels at playing. They're very comfortable playing Molani. Their Molani is very good. They've gotten some quite impressive times in previous matches, and they're also very comfortable playing Molani without Shalonin, who is one of her best supports and one of her most easy to pilot supports. But as you can see, Zalox here, signature unit Sucrose, often does play Sucrose with Molani, and they get great times. Now, if you look at the Swiss records from JA, they went 2-2 in Swiss. They actually went up against my team on week 1 Pixel, and we nearly lost to them. That was a very close 3-4 match. My team made a lot of mistakes, and JA quite honestly just played a lot better than we did, and so that was close. Then they had their 2 wins. They had USG and SOL. SOL was rather close, but USG was not. And then they lost to HOS in the final week. So JA, I think they're a new team. They can be a little bit inconsistent, as you can see from some of these close matchups. But I do think that, especially if they get that Molani, then they can certainly compete with BLG on some of the DPS checks. All right, let me go ahead and introduce BLG.
Alright, so the Bilateral Gamblers, you are familiar with them. They are the winners of Season 3, our last season. This team led by Cuddles, who is the the creator of Ranked, along with Brion. They are really experienced players here in Genshin Ranked, and they have also gotten a lot of competitive experience in like co-op wars, the race tournament, and as well as some Abyss and Stygian Onslaught. Brion is still a Tartaglia main in 2025, and she really likes Yuri. While Cuddles is a #1 support bot and brings at least 50% of the energy to the team, he still comes to practice even though he is busy with med school. His quote is, "I have the most amazing teammates I could have asked for. This is my last competitive season for 4 years, and since my team won me a championship last year, it's my turn to bring it back for them." Complementing the team are Lin and Swezi. Lin's signature units are Lini, Nahida, and Marika. He has been playing since Season 2 and has been playing Genshin since 2.6. He has experience in Abyss PvP since version 3.8 and as well as some speed running for fun. He really likes playing Kave in Nilu Blue teams because he is so baby girl. He is also the theory crafter of the group. And running them up is Swezi, who really likes playing Yelana and Kinich. He has some experience in Abyss PvP, and he is in fact also an actor. He is the Australian in the team, so he wakes up at 6 a.m. every day for practice. They are a really competitive team with really regular practices, and we can really expect a lot of great plays and drafting from them. Some fun facts about this team, especially in their Swiss stage, is that they have beaten both of our teams.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but that gives them their 4 straight wins in Swiss, putting them in the first seed in the playoffs. So that's a really good feat, and that really shows how great this team is.
Oh, you're cutting out a little,
That
Lemon.
Benny's Cuddle's best in slot is Bennett, and Rion's favorite character is Chlorinde. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. If
let's
you'll
move
notice,
on to the
yeah,
draft.
as well, let's get into the draft. If you'll notice as well, the BLG, Swiss records as well, they actually, even against teams like GMT1, like TSS, like PXL, that are all pretty good, pretty competitive, they actually sort of, those matches were not close. They beat us by quite a large margin, and so they are certainly a force to be reckoned with. I do think that we need to do the coin flip first before beginning draft. Basically, the teams are going to flip a coin, and then they'll get to decide who's going to be team 1 first and who's going to be team 1 second in this best of 2. Now, there are certain advantages and disadvantages to either. You can sort of play safer or more aggressively, depending on whether you're team 1 or team 2. And team 2 also does have the benefit of getting to see the clear times by team 1, because team 1 goes first before team 2 gets to go. So that's why it's so important that in best of 2, each teams get a chance to be team 2 as well. So I think we're going to go into the flip now. And BLG chooses Tails, I believe.
Yep, and they won.
They won.
So
I believe
it looks
BLG.
like they are going to go for team 1 in the first half. That means JA will be going for team 2, and they will switch sides in the halftime. All right.
Yeah. All right, we can move on to draft. So we're going to start with the boss picks. What are you expecting to see from both teams in this boss draft, Lemmy?
Oh, both teams have really brought different styles of drafting in their previous matches. For BLG, I can really expect some DPS checks, such as Copilio right here.
Yeah.
They have been playing a lot of these kinds of DPS bosses in the earlier stage of Swiss, such as like literally Copilia, and I think there was Serpent as well as some assignment. So we can expect them here if they want to challenge JA on their S ability. Whereas
I definitely. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Whereas JA, well, they are fairly new team, so they have drafted mostly PS bosses just to get a easier start as a new team. And we can also, well, it's pretty much reflect here they drafted the which is a pretty simple boss, a much interesting mechanic to go around with.
All right, this is looking like a relatively straight DPS check draft thus far. I expected BLG to go for straight DPS checks and just try and sort of out DPS JA, but I know that JA does like to draft some Natlan checks like Papilla, so I actually didn't expect to see an EFG with them. This is also a relatively lethal draft thus far. You've got Coppelia, EFG, and Goldflame, all of which can kill you. And then BLG goes for Knave. That is definitely a boss that I know BLG likes to pick. Another aggressive boss as well. And now we've got two anti-pyro bosses with both Goldflame and Knave, as well as an anti-cryo boss with Coppelia. The first two bosses are good for Arlecchino, and then Goldflame, of course, and Knave are both anti-pyro, but Arlecchino and Mualani can still be quite good here.
Yeah.
I also think Nahida is good on this lineup. Nuvolette is great on this lineup. Farina, this is a pretty neutral boss list, I'd say. Aside from the anti-pyro, there's quite a lot of stuff that can work here, but it is great for JA's signature team, which is Mualani. So
Yeah, and Coppelius here rounding up with Coppelia, the perfect match.
yeah, Coppelius does require Pyro Shield Breaker, another form of shield break through like Electro or the Fontaine characters. But if you can break that shield, it's also just a DPS check or kill it before. And then Golem as well. Golem is interesting because Golem is not a DPS check. It's fully a break check. And BLG bans Mualani.
Yep, I have
yeah.
seen that BLG banning Mualani and Farina a lot in Team 1 situation. Perhaps they are that again?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I do think that JA definitely had the benefit of being able to go for the Mualani Shalonen pick here if Mualani was left open, but also they don't even need Shalonen. Their Mualani teams are great without, so I could see BLG banning Mualani on side 2 as well. But JA goes ahead and bans Nuvolette. That makes a lot of sense since JA actually does not have a Nuvolette at all, and he is quite good on this boss list. Now, Nahida's still open. Bennett also is still open, but Bennett-based teams won't be quite as good here. However, I do think that they can certainly still win, enough bosses to tie it up if played carefully. And then BLG goes for Farina. This is exactly what you predicted, Lemmy. Yeah.
Totally not pre-watch.
What do you think JA is going to ban here?
I think Nahida is going really dangerous here.
But she is quite good on a lot of these bosses if you can play her well. And I do think that that's another team that JA is relatively comfortable with. They ban Bennett. All right. So Nahida's open. Varessa is open. Arlecchino is open.
Yeah.
Let's look. I'm really curious. Mawika's open. They've gotten rid of all of the major pyros except for Yalan.
Yeah, I can see one team getting a overloading. Well, Varessa first pick is interesting, but it definitely makes sense because it guarantees them the perfect Electro to pair them with Overload or Dendro. So that's a pretty good first pick, I would say.
That's true. Yeah, if JA wants to deny all of their teams here, they're going to have to get rid of both Nahida and Arlecchino. But I really do wonder what they'll pick because that Arlecchino Varessa Chevreuse team here is not necessarily that good. You've got two anti-pyro bosses, you've got a bond reset. It is, however, going to be good for break on Golem, and JA takes Nahida. What do you think their chosen Electro unit is going to be here, or do you think they're going to steal from BLG?
I believe for the best result, I think they have to take Chlorine because they need to give themselves a danger and perhaps gamble that BLG may not have the perfect overload team.
That makes sense. I definitely think that the Dendro team has potential to be better here on this boss list because it does work on so many bosses, and they take Tignari. That is so interesting. They did not take the actual Electro unit. Maybe their Electro units are all side grades. Maybe they're trying to steal from Varessa so they can't play Varessa, Alhaitham, Tignari, which actually does make sense because that team could be good the same way that the Dendro team with Nahida could be. And BLG takes Yalan. Are they going to take a Pyro here, or are they going to take Kazuha and play Varessa Taser? I wonder.
I think Taser actually also works here, though.
It does.
They also need a healer for the nade.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they take Varessa and Chlorinde. I believe that's likely a steal from Team 2 to get rid of Team 2's Chlorinde, but I wonder how BLG is going to choose their team. I mean, they do still have Arlecchino open. They do still have Mawika open for like a triple DPS team, sort of, with Yalan. They also do still have Shalonen and Kazuha, but this is quite interesting. Does JA have like an interesting Sino constellation?
They have a C2 Sino on
They do have a
Celox.
C Sino, don't they? That is very interesting. I am so curious to see how this Sino team will perform. Now, JA locks a Kazuha ban against BLG. So BLG, I don't know what they're going to ban because JA does have their team. They just need to... That team with Sino, Tignari, and Nahida does work on all of these bosses, but they just don't have break for Golem. They could still try and go for an overloaded team with Sino. I feel like maybe BLG still has that Arlecchino Varessa Chevreuse team open, so JA might want to try and deny that here by taking either the Arlecchino or the Chevreuse with their fourth pick. And an Alhaitham ban. That is really interesting. That is actually very interesting.
Perhaps they just want to ban something that's useless for them. them, so it leaves more characters to grab.
That makes
Though I
sense.
think the Kazuha ban from JA is really notable because
That was a good
he is,
ban, yeah.
yeah, definitely the best support to help the Taser. Though
Yeah.
if they don't grab Chaska up and they just did, and if they
All
gave
right.
Chaska to BLG, that's also detrimental. So taking her
Mm.
right here is really good.
Oh,
And
BLG takes
Shilonen,
Shilonen, which means that they're not getting the full Arlecchino Chevreuse Varesa team here. They might be planning to play Varesa Yolon Shilonen. But
Arlecchino is still open.
Arlecchino is still open. They could play. Oh, and they take Mawika.
Map.
They take
I
Mawika.
see.
Okay. So maybe they'll be playing a Taser team with Shilonen. Maybe they'll be playing a triple DPS team with Varesa, Yolon, and Mawika. And then JA just has that Dendro team with Nahida, Tignari, Sino, and they could still take like themselves like a Pyro-based team here with Arlecchino. They could take Arlecchino Linny. And certainly, I mean, I've seen some pretty scary results with High Constellation Sinos, actually, some pretty good results if he's played well. So, and Tignari is also pretty good on these bosses because he's the safe pick. Oh, and they take Linny. Will they take Arlecchino?
I
If
hope they
take
do because
Arlecchino?
that is
Yeah.
also a mono pyro. But yeah.
Yeah, that gives them a mono pyro team that could potentially win some of these DPSE bosses if they don't think they can win with the Dendro team.
So they
But
do
maybe
need a
they.
healer for survival though.
I mean, they can always run prototype Amber Nihida. That can be fine. They could also take Kuki here if they want to, but they take Ganyu. Are they going to play Chaska, Linny, Ganyu? That's interesting. Or perhaps they're trying to steal a Mawika, Ganyu, Shilonen from BLG as well. That team can be pretty good. I wonder what BLG is going to take here. Are they going to take the Arlecchino? I know that Mawika, Arlecchino,
Yeah, it's really
Yolan is
interesting.
pretty good, but it can sometimes struggle to cycle a little bit.
There's also the
So.
option of Sitlali right here.
That's true. That's true. They do have Mawika Yalan that they could play with Sitlali, and BLG does have quite a lot of 3 C1 Sitlalis. And they also have Chevreuse. Are we gonna see the same Varesa Mawika Chevreuse team that we saw in the match yesterday?
I think we are gonna.
I think we are on Golem. That's exciting. I'm very, very interested to see how this forms well. I wonder if they can. I wonder if they can get it to match that Arlecchino team, since I know that there are a lot of people on BLG. I think both Lynn and Swazi are big on playing Mawika. So we have BLG. They actually ended up with quite a lot of signature units for their players. You've got Rion's Clorind. You've got the Mawika that I know and Swazi both like to play, and then you've got Yolan, who is also like one of Swazi's units that he really excels at playing. And then from JA, I know I haven't seen their Dendro teams in practice, but I do know that one of the teams that I heard JA was actually pretty good at playing when we were playing against them, that I was a bit scared of, actually was their Nahida team. So I definitely think, and then they have this Chaska, Linny, Ganyu team. I definitely wonder, it's sort of like no one really got like a super high output team here. I definitely think that both teams have a chance. Yeah, so I think we can move into 5-minute prep now and take a look at what the teams are doing. Do you have any score predictions for these bosses? How are you feeling right now?
I think currently the tides are leaning toward BLG here.
Mhm.
Well, of course they have the perfect overload for multiple bosses here, and
Mhm.
they also have Shilonen for the survivability on Nate. And of course we know Rion's Chlorine is really good, as well as they got.
Yeah,
Also, we just said that
absolutely.
they got their signature character as well.
Mhm.
So I think they are really prepared for what's to come. Even though they did not get any of perhaps the most meta teams, I think they can
Mhm.
also work with options. Though for
Alright.
JA, I know that Nahidas are really good, but having Sino here, I am not really sure how he might perform here, though they can surprise us, and I am also excited to see how it performs.
Yeah, I really do think that it comes down to how that Nahida Tignari Sino team is going to perform. I have seen some pretty good times from like with strange electros in Nahida times. I remember getting a 23-second Drake in casual with, I believe it was Joman and Rion, with a Kuching, a C6 Kuching in that team. So a C2 Sino I think could honestly perform. And one issue that I'm noticing with BLG's teams that is honestly just really build reliant, and is that Yolan can struggle to cycle, and her teams do fall off hard if she cannot single ult bosses a lot of the time, because she'll struggle with energy, or she'll have to build more energy, and she'll have to sacrifice a lot of damage. Yolan is also quite gameplay reliant at times. You really have to be careful about like getting your breakthrough barbs and playing her well and making sure she's targeting the enemy, which can be iffy on certain bosses. So I do think that these triple DPS teams with Yelan are not always as consistent to execute as they are with Nuvolat as well, which seems to be what BLG is playing. If you'll notice, BLG actually has Cuddles on Clorend and Shalonen. I'm not sure if Rion might be on his account or if he's playing, but I'm not sure if they're actually going to be using the Clorend.
I do know that
Perhaps they're just
Cuddle's
playing.
own Florin has a really good TF build
Mhm.
as well, so that's
Okay.
absolutely a good option to have. Well,
All right. I'm very interested to see if they're going to end up playing her. But also, I think with this account distribution we're seeing right now, they cannot play Clorin, Shalon, and Yelan. So maybe they'll switch things around. Maybe we'll see something different. But yeah. And then the final notable thing, I guess, is just BLG has the safer team and JA does not, unless, of course, they choose to run Prototype Amber Nikita on some bosses, which can be fine, but it does tank your damage. So I definitely can see BLG taking Knave and taking Gold Flame just because they have that survivability on those bosses. And but I mean, that Nahida team could be good on Gold Flame as well. It really depends. It really does depend, but I definitely see BLG Knave. I think it's sort of like, I'm not sure how either of these teams are going to form for either JA or BLG, so I don't know if I can really make any predictions aside from the Knave pick until I see how these teams play.
yeah, and I think this makes this match a lot more interesting than predicted.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like one team really got steamrolled and draft just sort of like didn't get anything. I think that both teams got something that's a little interesting, a little bit off of the regular meta. And so here it's really just going to come down to gameplay skill, I think, at the end of the day, and to some degree build quality, because both teams have functional teams, but those functional teams are a little bit different, you know? And I don't know how they're going to perform. So I am so interested. I'm so interested.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
sitting here ready to be surprised.
Yeah, same. So we are going into Copelia. One thing about Nahida teams that I am a bit worried about for JA is just that they do spiral. Sometimes if you die, since they don't have a healer, and since Nahida loses so much from running P Amber and you don't start with her ult either. If you die, you don't start with Tighnari ult, which can be very important for cycling certain bosses, even though he does have, like, he has a bow unit and he can recover from that. And then Sino, of course, I think Sino would be extremely difficult to play without an ult, and I think that he is also a unit where energy management will be super important. Like, I think that if Sino dies, then that could really cause this Nahida team to spiral quite a lot.
Yeah, they are also really independent as well. Sino really wants his birds to be available at all times. So yeah, let's see how they manage.
All right, I think BLG is taking out the C1 Mawika, who will have quite a lot of freedom using her ult, in addition to being in a what looks like
Sequence of Solitude. That is the first time I have seen it being used here. Instead
Oh
of the
yes.
Moon
Is it the
Spoon.
event weapon?
Yep.
Oh yeah. All right, they got Chevreuse with Sig on BLG. It looks like the character distribution we're looking at right now is, I think JA is fixing theirs. All right, so JA can play the Nahida team. They've got it set up, I believe. And I also believe they're going to be able to play that Chaska team. And then it looks like BLG is choosing to play either Shalonen Varesa Yelan or Shalonen Mawika Yelan. And then they can play like Shalonen or Clorind with Mawika or Varesa and Chevreuse on Golem. They've got a lot of options there for Overloaded, but I think that the bosses that you can count on BLG taking here are most likely going to be Knave and Golem. So I can see it being a 4-2 or a 3-3 here for sure, but I don't think it'll be. I think BLG will certainly win those two regardless of how their DPS teams form.
Yeah, I really like matches that are unpredictable. You can kind of see how each team shine on each boss, see how they work with different comms and different strategy. Yeah, I think
Sorry, go ahead.
this match really reflects this kind of unpredictability.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really do love seeing the unconventional teams. Something is that we've seen in a lot of league games recently is teams getting a lot of optimal teams or close to optimal teams. So while these teams are all still totally functional and can be totally good, it's just nice to see some off-meta picks like the Sino and like the triple PS teams, which we haven't seen so much in league yet this season. It's very exciting, and it's really a show of how much the ranked meta has changed, where even if a lot of options are banned and a lot of things maybe aren't good on certain boss lineups, you can now play some unconventional teams. You know, you can slot Varesa and Mawika on scrolls into quite a lot of teams. All right, it looks like BLG is readying up, and they're going to start Coppelia here.
Let's take a look.
They're going in with the Varessa, Yelan, and Shalonen team, but it looks like they're using Lin's Yelan. Now, I believe that Lin still does have C2 Yelan, but I don't think he is as known for his Yelan gameplay as Swazi is. So we'll see how this performs, unless, of course, it's Swazi account, but I don't think so. Yep, Lin also has a C2. So this Yelan should have no trouble with energy, provided she can cycle well and is running enough ER. So let's take a look. All right, they're starting the boss. Varessa is attacking Yelan, seems to be waiting to ult.
Here they go. A lot of Varessa damage we see.
We're at 11 seconds. This team is not
a lot
fast.
of front load that I have expected.
Let's see, 17, 18. I'm looking at a mid 20s, maybe even 30.
Let's see if they can do it before the shield comes up.
Well, this is a Coppelia, I believe, yes. So no shield on this one. Ooh, it's over 30 seconds. I think that if JA plays well, they could definitely win this boss. This team is comfortable, but it is not fast. 38-64. Yeah.
I see.
I wonder, JA might even be able to get away with running Prototype Amber on Nahida here and still be fine if they want to.
Honestly, yeah, it really depends on Sino right here, because he is half of the DPS.
Yeah, I really am curious. Let me see. I mean, we'll see if they're running Prototype Amber here, but I think they absolutely could, and they do have that advantage of being Team 2. They got to see Team 1's clear, and they can make decisions based on that. If they feel like they can beat that time easily, and they can go ahead. All right, it looks like they're starting up or ready checking. I really wonder what boss they're going to play that Ganyu Lini Chaska team on as well. Maybe they're going to go for it on Golem for Shred. All right, they're starting the boss. Tignari is using his pre-E. He's all charged. Nahida's ult is up. They're all full HP, so we can't really tell if she's on P Amber yet. Sino already takes some damage. Ooh, Sino's low.
That might not be a good sign if they want to... Yeah.
This team is not outputting damage too quickly. But they have around... Ooh, does Sino go down? Sino goes down. I don't know if they can finish it. That's really unfortunate.
They need a few seconds left, but I don't think Tainari can finish it with the
Nahida's low.
aura.
Nahida's low, but she's not quite down. I think they probably ideally would just get ult and leave here. I think that a prototype Prototype Amber Nahida honestly could have saved them, because their DPS output looked to be certainly faster than BLG's. But that also means that I do think they definitely have DPS potential on the other bosses. Nahida has ult, Tignari does not, but he's still shooting.
That was so close gameplay from Nahida. I've seen a lot of close calls, but Khan definitely managed to stay alive.
Yeah, that was great gameplay from Khan, staying alive for that long. I'm not sure if Tignari is just getting ult or if he's trying to 3-minute DNF here. I think perhaps he's just getting ult, which I think would be the smartest play. But I definitely think they're going to have to go Prototype Amber Nahida on some future bosses, or risk the whole team dying. But Sino's going to really struggle to get his energy up. And this next boss is not a startup boss, so they won't have time to gather energy before starting. Yeah, those sorts of deaths in a Nahida team can really cause teams to cycle. This is a pretty detrimental error from JA, but I really do hope that they can pick it up in the end.
And add to the fact that this boss is quite RNG dependent, and some of its attacks can be deadly. If you get the wrong animation, you get ground slammed and you're out.
That attack is very dangerous. All right, BLG is sticking with the Varessa, Yelan, Shalonen Taser team, the comfortable team again here. Looks like they're full ults. They've got no problem with energy. They're ready to go in. And I feel like perhaps JA will have to sack a boss along the way to just gather Sino energy, unless, of course, BLG dies here. But I don't see that being likely.
They have the good animation. It gets them some time to get all the damage in. Yeah,
this team's pace is not too terrible here. for such a comfortable team, but these slams that this boss does can be difficult to dodge and pretty deadly if you take a hit. But BLG does not take a hit except I think once on Swazi, and they finish it out with a 31.89 time.
Good job for Swezi for surviving this despite him having the Australia pain.
Yes, absolutely. And I forgot about this team from JA. I also don't know how this team will perform. It's a melt team, it's ranged, which makes it relatively safe. There's no healer, but they might be able to clear that 30 seconds time. Ooh, they get the bomb attack from this boss.
Yep.
Then he takes some damage, but heals himself, or maybe that was HP drain.
Getting the
And
Pyro Aura is
phases.
very crucial here because you need Pyro Aura for Ganyu to melt, but despite that, I think Ganyu is also dealing a lot of good damage here. So can they clear
No, they're
it
dodging
before
well.
31?
I don't think they make it, but they are doing a good job dodging here.
Close.
They're not taking too much damage. And they're clearing it. I think that Chaska seems to be messing with the aura too much for them to get consistent reactions as well. And a 42.69, so that's 2 wins for BLG. And JA
We're moving on to Gold Flame.
0. Gold Flame now. This is another aggressive boss. It looks like BLG is going in with the same exact comfortable taser team. I definitely think that if Sino had full energy, JA would have a chance on this boss, but I don't know how quickly he can get his ult up here.
Yeah. And I think what BLG really does well here is that they always pick a good healer. They always pick Chilonen as a really good sustain for the team. And they pick really aggressive bosses such as Gold Flame and also some other bosses
21 seconds, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that can really bring a good challenge for the other team if they do not bring a good enough healer.
Yeah, absolutely. BLG certainly does draft aggressively, and they are pretty comfortable on their aggressive bosses. So I do think right here, they are certainly taking advantage of how comfortable they are on some of these more difficult picks. But JA is going in with the Ganyu team again. Not sure if she can melt here. I think perhaps they're just switching to this team now, since the Nahida team could be worse. Oh, but their bow units are standing too far away. And they get the drill attack. However, they're still all full HP. They are doing a good job not taking damage, but it's not enough. They're not going to clear in time. 24, 25, 26, 27, and that's a 27-second clear from JA.
Yeah, unfortunately, JA did not draft the best teams for this matchup. So unfortunately, they will have less DPS ability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that having to switch to that range team really has made this match a lot more difficult for them. I think BLG is going in with the same taser team here. Just continuing. I mean, are they going to play this on all the bosses except for Golem? Potentially. Because I'd love to see how that Yolan, Mawika, Varesa team performs, but I don't know if we'll get to see that today.
So, something that this boss gimmick is the bond of life. It requires the team to have a healer to remove the bond to deal in order to survive. So
yeah,
Chilonen being here is definitely a really good comfort pick.
Yes, this boss also has Pyro Res, which won't be so good with JA's team, but perhaps they'll bring out the Nahida team here again and go for a prototype Amber. I have played this boss a couple of times without a healer. It is possible to survive, but it is very, very difficult and perhaps not worth risking. So I'd like to see the pace of this team on this boss. One of the benefits of playing Varesa with a healer here is that she does get to play very aggressively. So she doesn't have to worry too much about taking damage. She can just greed out damage, but this team still is really just a comfort pick, I think. So I do really wonder how it's going to perform on this boss that focuses so much on healing and mobility. Let's see, 41 seconds, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. All right, she's going to phase.
I think that is also a pretty good time, a really good pace as well.
It is a decent pace, but how fast can they clear the second half? Oh, and the ref dies. They're clearing this down pretty fast. 106, 109, 110. This is a pretty good pace for this boss if they can get below 120, I think. But Arlecchino teleports. She's going to do this slam attack. They dodge it. They dodge her beams. She does it again. Oh, did Swazi go down?
I believe so.
130.
Oh.
Swazi went down. That is an issue.
Unfortunately, Veressa does goes down. So her energy problems might come up in a bit.
That's true. She shouldn't struggle with getting her HP up if they continue to play with Shilonen, but I know that especially in this team, I expect Shilonen to be running scrolls, which means Veressa won't be running scrolls. So she's going to struggle even more to get her energy back. And all right, JA is bringing back the Dendro team. I expect them to be running P-Amber here. With a super low HP Nahida, they're going to have to play real safe at the start, but that P-Amber should heal them right up.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to see Nahida pop off.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. Let's see. I do think they can take it if they can play this team well. Tsunari precasts his E. And they're going right in. Sino doesn't have his ult yet, but... Okay, she's attacking Nahida's healing. Yep. She's on Prototype Amber, but they still have to play really safe. However, this team can play relatively ranged until Sino is healed up. I think Sino might be running Fav here. Does it look like he's running Fav?
I'm not sure. I have to check in a bit. So,
yeah, what weapons is he even allowed is my question.
Oh, and they are DNFing.
Oh, I see. So I think they're using this boss to just heal and get energy, and then they're going to go on and use it in their other DPS picks. Let's see. What is left on this boss list? Wow, she's really glitched for me.
And
Coppelius. All right. I do think that if they play that Nahida team well, JA could definitely take Coppelius here if BLG doesn't decide to bring out one of their higher output comps. So I'm thinking this could potentially be like a 5-1 result since I expect BLG to take Golem. But yeah, I really do want to see that Nahida team at its peak.
Yeah, I really hope that they can redeem themselves on Coppelius. It's pretty much the same as Coppelia, though I think with energy and the experience of playing Coppelia just now, I think JA will be a lot more suited to win this time.
Yeah, I do think they have a chance here. I just worry a little bit that since they don't necessarily have great shield break, and based on the pace that they were clearing at on their Coppelia run, I don't really see them phasing this boss before the shield. I wonder how much quicker BLG can break it with Veressa. So BLG's starting. Elon ults. They've got Shilonen going here. Swazi is low. Swazi is really low. Oh, but he heals up. All right.
Shilonen is the goat here at healing.
He's nearly
saving her teammates here and there in this aggressive boss.
This is a much better pace than Coppelia, but they do take it down. However, I think that Shalonen might be running the Fontaine sword that allows her to break the shield instantly, getting them a 34-second clear. One problem with that Nahida team is that they don't have a sword user, so they can't do that. Sino will have to break the shield manually if he can't cycle before.
Yeah, that sword is a really interesting mechanic that I don't think many people would usually remember that it exists. So
Yeah, I've had a couple of runs where it's been used on Kazuha here. It is a really cool way to deal with Coppelius's mechanics. But I don't know if this team can cycle. I completely forgot about the sword. I forgot that BLG could just run that. So I'm not sure how much of a chance the Sino team has here. But I really hope they pull it together. It is a 34-second clear. That should certainly be beatable if they are able to do enough damage. Let's see. Tignari casts his E. The boss is in res. They're attacking. Keep in mind, Sino is not at full HP still, so he does still have to play pretty risky. Need to cast her ult. And she's running P Amber.
Damage in.
This damage is not bad, but I don't think
the time to beat is 34 seconds.
BLG. Can they cycle it before the shield?
For them.
It is, but I don't know if they can make it, and he shields up. I don't think it's enough. I don't think they can break it.
Oh, unfortunately.
I think they might just leave. Oh, and Tignari goes down. Does Sino go down too? Oh no, only Nahida's left alive. Will she sack it and heal herself to full so she can run a more offensive weapon on the other bosses, or... No, I think she just DNFs. She just leaves. Alright, Nahida has full ult. Tignari and Sino both lacking their ult, and we're going into Golem with 5 wins for BLG and none for JA. And I think BLG takes this boss.
Yeah. I think this first half really depends solely on the Shalonen pick.
Yes.
It really helps the survivability and shows in this boss selection.
Absolutely. I really do wonder how much I really do think that there are some of those early bosses that JA could have beat BLG on if they'd played a little bit less aggressively. But I also understand that maybe they wanted to really go all in here to ensure that they can beat BLG's damage, since BLG's times were still, still certainly competitive, I think, for JA. So, but I do really think that Prototype Amber was the key. I think if they'd run that on Coppelia as the first boss, then they perhaps would have won that boss and then prevented spiraling, and I think we might have seen a tied up first half here.
Yeah, and right now BLG has to win this boss to seal a good 6-0 lead.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult for JA to come back from, but there's always a chance on second half of draft. When you get new characters, new strats, and a different side to play as. Malika is kind of just standing there, I see. They're taking down the shield quickly. Clorinda's low, and she heals. 22 seconds. This is not a fantastic clear time, but I don't think that JA has something much better to clear this boss, so I don't think it matters.
Yeah, they're clearing really comfortably. So
40 seconds.
And Marika first seals the deal for them.
Alright, let's see what JA can do on this boss. I do notice that JA has no characters, no claymores, no characters that can really charge attack to break this. It looks like they're just playing Chaska. I think they might just be trying to shred through the shield with Chaska's VV and then get additional overloaded procs from Chaska's Electro Bullet, since the ref element is Electro here.
That's true.
That 40 seconds is not particularly difficult to beat time, but does JA have the team for it? Let's see. I don't think this clears. I think the pace is too slow, unfortunately. Let's see. We're at 14, 15 seconds. The shield is barely broken, but there's potential that they can just kill it through the shield. However, I don't see that happening with the pace, and Chaska dies.
Oh, and here goes the death shred unit.
Yeah, there goes their shred unit, there goes their overloaded. I think that this boss might be set as a win for BLG. 35, 37, 38, 39, 40, and BLG takes this boss.
And that is it.
Yeah.
BLG gets a 6 boss win lead in the first half, giving them a big advantage as they go into the second half.
Yeah, and on the second half, reminder that BLG will be playing as Team 2, which means that they will have the advantage of being able to see that the times that JA submits before and make decisions based on that. But looks like JA is still going at it, trying to clear this boss with just Ganyu and Linny. We're at 1 minute and 20 seconds now. And they're still alive. The rest of the team is still alive. Ganyu's got her ult up. And Linny goes down. Is Ganyu gonna solo? Let's see.
Though it wouldn't matter much now. Though good job on surviving for this long though. I know some of the boss attacks come really unexpected.
This boss is very difficult at times. Yeah. I think
Ganyu is definitely aura
farming on Ganyu, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, she is a relatively safe pick here. I think he could just continue and potentially even kill it. Finishing the boss just to avoid the DNF. Alright, there's the what is that? Taunt shield thing? I don't know. He spawns a thing.
Yeah.
Up again, she breaks it with damage, I think. The damage is not bad here. And it will kill Ganyu in one hit if she gets hit, but can he dodge? He dodges!
He dodged it.
He dodges! Nice dodging from Johnny. We're about to reach the 3-minute mark, so I think this Ganyu solo might be cut short. Unless Ganyu dies here from this boss's attacks, but she's been fine dodging everything thus far, and she dodges again.
That was close.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that should be a 3-minute DNF for JA. Putting BLG up 6.
And we have a 5-minute intermission. So, what do you think about the first half?
Well, I definitely do think that this is another example, as we've seen many times in matches, of what happens when you play very aggressively versus what happens when you play very safely. I think that BLG took a very safe approach here. They played a team with a very low damage output, but that was very, very safe. And JA unfortunately went for their all, and they play the aggressive team, and that ended up screwing them over in a way. However, there is always a chance. BLG themselves have come back before from a quite difficult first half and turned that around and won in previous seasons. So it's always possible that JA can pull it together in the second half of the draft. It really just depends. I mean, I think they're going to have to play it safer this time because risk-taking here really didn't work out well for them. But I mean, maybe they're just going to risk it all again. I mean, can they do anything but risk it all again against BLG? If BLG can, you know, get these sorts of times with such a comfortable team, I mean, they're not amazing, but like 21-second Gold Flame is pretty decent. That 130 Knave with a death. I definitely think that as much as perhaps it would be great if JA could play safer, maybe they can't. Maybe that's not an option for them. What do you think? Do you think they can get away with playing safer on this side of the drafts, Lemmy?
I think, well, getting 6-0 for JA is definitely not a good start for them as we head to the second half. One boss, if they let BLG win one boss, and they're out. So I think they have to play more strategically here. Draft bosses that they are comfortable with, they have practice with, they know how to draft onto, so that they cannot let BLG slip through the cracks and get an easy win from them. So yeah, but regarding the bosses, I think BLG will bring their all. We know that, well, seeing from their Swiss run, they have brought a lot of Natlan bosses, a lot of dangerous, really niche Natlan bosses, such as the dreaded Spirit Speaker and Lava
Yes,
Dragon, as well
yes.
as possibly a Papilla that I know both teams really love picking.
Mhm.
That if BLG get one of those boss wins, then that also secures their win. So perhaps they will go this route and use this way to give them the one up.
Yeah, I definitely think that BLG's strategy in the first half was that they drafted DPS checks, but also dangerous DPS checks. They're not just mechanics checks; they are DPS checks. Coppelia's, and Gold Flame, but they are quite aggressive, and they drafted those aggressive DPS checks. They played it really safe, and now they've seen that that works, that worked against JA. So I can see them using that strategy again. But I can also see them going for certain DPS checks just if they don't think that JA can out DPS them. However, JA does have the advantage of the first pick as team one in the second half of the draft. So maybe that will give them a bit of a leg up. If a lot of things are banned and the draft becomes very specific, there are a lot of common bosses still open, like Drake, A Simon, Weenut, the common DPS checks. But I do wonder, BLG really could try and just draft a boss that they know they can guarantee the win on, a super niche boss, and just take the win from JA right here, right in the beginning of the draft, like their first boss pick potentially. Unless things really go wrong, I don't see a way that JA can win this, but I really hope they're able to pick it up and turn it around.
Yeah, even though it is looking bleak for JA, I don't want to quote them.
Yes.
They said that we may not be here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. EU stays strong. Despite them being
Yes.
the last EU team standing here, I really sympathize with them. EU has come a long way from previous seasons. They have gotten a lot of new members, a lot of new good players, good teams. We've got a record high of EU teams coming to the playoffs. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely a EU revival, and I cannot wait to see what EU has to offer in the future.
I absolutely, yeah, I cannot wait to see how many more new EU teams we'll have. I think there are some more EU players who don't have teams that are interested in playing next season as well. And JA was here for a good amount of time, I would say. It may not have been the longest, but it was certainly a long enough time. They made it all the way through Swiss, they made it out of Swiss, and now they're playing in the streamed playoffs. And I think that's a major accomplishment as a new team. Like, my team last season didn't even make it out of Swiss, so I think JA can definitely pat themselves on the back for making it to the stream matches regardless of what the outcome of this one is. It's very impressive as a new team.
And
Yeah.
it looks like both teams are ready for the next draft here, so
All right.
let's take a look.
So, reminder that JA is team 1 now, and BLG will be team 2. JA, I definitely think that if BLG lets JA get that Moalani first pick, then I do think that there is a possibility that JA could beat out BLG on some DPS checks, especially if the bans are very restrictive, but I don't see BLG letting them have that. However, there's always a possibility, or maybe they'll get that Nahida team and they'll get a better Electro unit, or maybe they'll execute it better. Anyways, JA goes with Seahorse. That's an interesting pick.
They
Oh,
are
they're
giving them a
looking
challenge.
quickly. Terror Shroom from BLG. So we've got some anti-Dendro. We've got Seahorse, which is particularly good for Pyro and Cryo teams because of the break, but can also be decent for Dendro. Let's see. Cryo Cube from JA. That is a Pyro check. So JA is not picking straight DPS checks. They are picking specific bosses that want elemental application and just sort of a lot of Pyro units, it seems. But BLG fires back with a Weenut, which is generally a DPS check and notably is anti-Varessa because her targeting there can be pretty difficult to deal with. I can see this is a great Arlecchino lineup. This is an amazing Arlecchino lineup. They pick GeoQ.
GeoQ.
GeoQ
We
is
have last seen that coming up in, I believe, GMT1 versus TST in last season. GMT1 bringing up a lot of good cooks here with GeoQ. I think they brought up Zhongli Plunge, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
That was a fun match to watch.
JA
Let's
goes
see
with
what
the
they ban.
Nicolette ban, which makes sense again as they don't have her. I think JA wants Mob first pick here. The problem is that if BLG gets rid of Moalani, then they're letting JA have Arlecchino or Mawika, who are both good bosses here, all the way until a pep. There's only one bond reset with a pep at the end, which doesn't mess up Arlecchino's bond for future bosses. BLG bans Verena, that makes sense. And what does
I
JA
think now
get rid of?
this time is really crucial because they want to leave
Arlecchino.
enough. BLG wants to leave enough pyro options open so that they can perhaps win Cryo Cube or a Seahorse. But for JA, they want to seal all the pyro units up so that they can get only one of them and leave none for them.
Yeah, and that's the problem here, is that now BLG, they can get rid of Linny, but they're letting JA have Mawika, and that means that BLG can take the Mualani Shalonen, but Mualani Shalonen doesn't win that Seahorse, and JA takes Bennett, BLG takes Mav. I wonder what BLG will take with Mav. Perhaps Mav Ganyu, perhaps a Yelan. They take Ganyu. What is JA gonna play with Bennett here? They could go with Kanich. They could go with Kanich if they have him. I'm not sure if they do. I can take a look. I think they might not.
It is an option.
Or Emily, perhaps. Let me take a look at what JA has.
That is a tricky situation for them.
But they unfortunately do not have Kanich, so they take Chaska. I wonder what they're gonna play with Chaska here. This could be checkmate. They take Chaska Veresa, but I don't think that wins Seahorse. BLG has Mawika Ganyu. I think that JA should have taken Mawika first, but they take Kazuha. All right.
And that gives BLG a good DPS team as well.
I do think this is looking like a BLG win on the first boss, but can JA turn it around? They banned the Ayaka,
which has good shred onto the Seahorse shield.
That was a good ban, and I know that notably JA does have a C2 Ayaka on Xelox. So what is JA going to get rid of? What can they get rid of here? I think that BLG really definitely has a better team than them. Now, if this was just a standard DPS check, then these teams could perhaps be competitive. But the problem is just that Seahorse is got to be BLG's win with this team they've got. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They banned Shalonen, the safe pick. Okay, so they're preventing BLG from playing it safe again. They have to play aggressive with Ganyu, Mawika, Kazuha. And what does BLG take as their pick? Do they steal JA out of their other Pyro and Cryo units? They take Escoffier. Now, JA still does have... They do have Pyro units left. They can take a Xiangling, but they don't have much in the way of break aside from that. And Mawika Ganyu should have quite good break, but they take Skirk as well, who does have good front load here. But I don't think that Seahorse can be beaten with just Skirk here, and I don't think that Xiangling can beat Mawika Ganyu on Seahorse. They take Hu Tao. Okay.
I can see Hu Tao work on Seahorse.
That is true. She does have
quick enough.
Yeah, she has good application. So they definitely could use her to break, but I still don't think that it competes with that Mawika Ganyu team, unless they're going to try and perhaps a melt nuke with Skirk, Bennett, Hu Tao here, maybe. But I don't know if that would work. And BLG takes Yelan. I think now they have a Ganyu, Yelan, Escoffier team, and they take Gaming as their last pick. I know Gaming is a unit that Cuddles really likes to play. And JA has one last pick.
Are we going to see Gaming out in Seahorse?
I wonder. That could be quite interesting. That could be quite interesting. They certainly could play like a Gaming melt setup here if they wanted to. And he is good on Cryo Cube. They don't have, actually, if you notice, they don't have enough units to fully take care of Cryo Cube, but unless they play Yelan there. And JA takes Navia. So they have Bennett, they've got Chaska, Skirk, Hu Tao, Navia. Veresa obviously isn't being used on Seahorse. I wonder what JA is gonna cook. I think BLG will certainly play Mawika Ganyu, and then either probably Kazuha on Seahorse. I could see them playing, but I think I see BLG taking the win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any other way to spin it.
I personally did not see a lot of good team combinations from JA, whereas BLG has got multiple options for them to switch around, test with, and there's Gaming giving them emotional support. Yeah,
I definitely do think that BLG picked pretty aggressively here, though perhaps if JA had given BLG Bennett, then they would have just played Bennett Kanich with something, even if JA had taken Mav. So maybe there was no real way for them to win in this draft, but perhaps then the bans need to be re-examined. Was Nouvelette ban really necessary if you're trying to definitely ensure that the other team doesn't take Seahorse? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe you didn't need to ban Nouvelette. Maybe a Bennett ban would have been better. But
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what they could have turned around. Also, Nihida was not picked here notably at all. No one took her. Now, there are 2 anti-Dendro bosses, and there's Cryocube, Geocube, so it's not a particularly good matchup for her. But even then, perhaps she could have been used for some shield break on Seahorse. Yeah, I think we can go into prep now if prep has started. Take a look.
Here we
We're
go.
around 1 minute in. Let's see how BLG's team is doing on Seahorse. 47, 48. It's lagging a little. I am quite curious, but I really do think that BLG has to take the win, of course, unless they mess up here. And there is always the possibility that things will go wrong when it comes to gameplay, and BLG will not be able to clear. Perhaps they'll die, perhaps they'll mess up their setup, and then maybe JA could still take the win on this boss if they get lucky, if BLG gets unlucky. So there is always hope, but it really isn't looking too good.
Yeah, and we can definitely see that BLG is looking for the win in Seahorse. They are confident with their Ganyu Maurika team, and it surely breaks the shield quick enough for them to get the DPS in.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great shield break team. I also see that JA is trying Cryocube, which is interesting. Maybe they're very confident about their Seahorse team, since I don't see them trying Seahorse. And they're ready to go for that. They think they can beat BLG, so it's worth testing out Cryocube. We're 3 minutes into prep, 2 minutes left. BLG is just focusing on ensuring the Seahorse win, it looks like. And off they go again. Stream is a little laggy, it seems. I don't know.
I love the speed up version. It looks so goofy.
It does look pretty funny. Let's see. BLG is clearing in this. I wonder if JA can take down Seahorse if they have enough application or enough nuke damage from Skirk. I'm not sure. But given the fact that they're not actually testing Seahorse first, I wonder if they have something up their sleeve that we're not aware of. Skirk is a weird unit, and they do seem to have Skirk equipped here, so maybe they really are cooking something that we aren't aware of with her. She does so much damage in such a short period of time. Go on.
I wonder if Chaskia's shot even hit the shield right here.
I'm not sure. That's a good question. It does look like the Seahorse flew up, so this team does not have particularly good shield break. Looks like Skirk and perhaps even Bennett also died in prep. There's 30 seconds left for JA, 30 seconds left for BLG as well. BLG continuing to try that Seahorse. It's almost over. Looks like Lin is logging onto Rion's account, so Rion will not be playing there, which means we've got Lin on Ganyu. Let's see, who else is being played? Yelan Ganyu. I think perhaps the Yelan isn't being played as well. Cuddles on Kazuha and Gaming, and Swazi on Mawika. And then we've got Khan on Bennett Chaska, I believe. Salex on Veresa Skirk, and Elhex on Hutao Navia, though that doesn't look quite right with the character distribution they were using in testing, so maybe the sheet needs to be moved around a little bit. One thing I will say is that I do know that Mawika can be difficult to play on high ping, so there is also always a potential that something goes wrong with Swazi, and perhaps the Mawika ult is timed incorrectly. That could allow JA to take away that win, but I really do think that it's just either if BLG plays pretty poorly on Seahorse, or if they get really unlucky, then otherwise they're going to take that win.
Yeah, one crucial boss divide is between BLG and winning this quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if BLG wins, it's not over yet, because they're going to have to face off against TTT next week, which is a incredibly scary team. I think that the BLG versus TTT matchup might be potentially one of the most difficult matchups that we're going to see this season for both teams.
Yeah, it's a challenge from both sides.
Yeah, if that rematch happens, of course, there is still a chance. Let's see. Looks like JA is getting ready. The ref is getting to the ref spot. BLG is updating their characters. Looks like Gaming is
on Master.
Is on Mawika Sig. Incredibly based.
Also, Gaming being here, I need to teach everyone the correct pronunciation, being a Cantonese myself.
Yes,
Okay,
tell
okay,
us.
ready. It's
Yeah.
gaming,
Gaming.
yeah. And
Yeah,
Manchai is just 文仔, 文仔.
Yeah.
Okay,
White.
now you hear it, you gotta say
Yeah.
it like that, okay?
Okay, yeah. White girl surprises the stream with perfect Cantonese. True. Okay. All right. It looks like JA is starting. They're just locking in their characters. Who's playing Skirk, Hu Tao, and Bennett. Alhex is on Navia. No. Alhex is on Navia. Silex is on Varessa Skirk, and they're readying up. All right. This is the boss that will determine it all. Skirk Chaska is a new cook that I have not seen yet before. This is very interesting. I don't know how this shield break will go. It looks like they're ready, and they're going in.
And here they go.
Chaska
Let's wish
starting
them
with a
good
charge
luck.
attack. Good luck, JA. Let's see what they cook. All right, the Seahorse is getting up. It's getting up its shield. And the shield break actually doesn't look too bad, but can they break the shield before the Seahorse flies up? I think they might be able to. I think they're breaking it. And they break it.
And they do.
They
now
break
they just
it.
need the damage to clear it up.
But I don't know if they have the damage. This team's damage is not high. Unfortunately, we're at 30 seconds. Oh, but they're clearing. They're clearing. I think they can get sub 35, and they get 33 seconds.
That would be the time BLG has to beat.
I do think that if BLG messes up, they very much could potentially lose this boss. We might be back in it. All right, looks like timer's ready. Can BLG beat 33? I know that a standard time for most of the good teams on this boss can be around 25, but can they get it with this team? Let's see.
33, 39 is the time to beat. Let's see if they can do it. Kazuha Burst gets the infusion.
They're breaking the Seahorse shield. Shield break looks perhaps a bit faster than the... Oh, but the Seahorse is flying up. Can they get it down?
Oh,
and they
just
do.
in the nick of time. Mavrika comes in.
And I think they nuke it down. I think they just nuke it down here. Yep.
Looking like it is going to a BLG win.
Congratulations, BLG.
Will be in the favor of BLG. They will move on to the semi-final next week against TGT. Congratulations.
Congratulations, and congratulations to JA for playing such a fun match, for putting up a good fight, and for making it so far as an EU team. That's amazing. So if we revisit the bracket here next week, we'll see BLG and TGT facing off, and then we will see VV versus my team Pixel facing off as well, and then whoever wins from those two matchups will be making it into the grand finals, and the losers will be fighting it out for a third place match as well. So this looks to be an incredibly hype bracket. I am so excited for the BLG versus TGT match. That is going to be, I don't see that being anything but extremely close. There's no way that doesn't make it to overtime.
Yeah, that's definitely the match to look forward to. And we are now officially halfway done with the season.
Yes.
With the playoff, actually. Yes. We have 4 more really fun matches coming up in the future weeks, and we can't wait for what's going to happen as we now wait for people from both teams to join us for the post-match interview. Let them come in here.
Looks
and
like
we actually
we've
have
got
Swazzy
and Lynn and Cuddles, but he left.
Hey guys, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you guys feel?
Pretty good. Okay. Honestly, I was not playing at my peak.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
Honestly, oh my gosh, the signer pick was actually, on theory, it was a big blunder for the draft because like we were not expecting that pick.
Yes, no, that was scary. I definitely think if they hadn't died, I think they would have beat you guys on Copalia. I think they could have beat you guys on DPS checks. You guys would have had to switch teams. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, the DPO on all of these bosses would have actually outpaced our comps.
Yeah, especially with it's C2R1 as well. It's like that's pretty much as good as you can ask for.
Yeah, and I know I've seen your Sino gameplay, Cuddles, and we've gotten some pretty good times before, I believe, back when we were testing stuff pre-season 3 as well, that I was surprised with even your Sino, so I'm sure that their Sino pick could be pretty scary there.
Yeah, it would definitely be like up to Varese at times, because I had an idea that like Sino is probably going to be about as strong as Varese in his peak form, because he's a very hard character to play and like very niche.
Yes.
But again, it's just I knew that boss list was pretty aggressive. I had a feeling if they were going to go Sino, I was expecting there would probably be a wipe somewhere at some point, just because if Sino loses ult, he has no function or no contribution to this game for like a very long time. And I think it was just
very risky unit.
Playing around that happening or drafting around that happens. Mainly how we won.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Well played. I did like seeing the I think that the playing it really safe and taking Shalonen on an aggressive boss pick is something that like has been talked about a bit recently as like a strategy, but I haven't seen it like executed in this manner with this sort of team before. So that's also really fun to see. And it's fun to see a Taser team get brought out, even though it wasn't with Rayon's Clorend. But yeah, BLG, how do you guys feel about facing off against TGT next season? Not season.
Oh,
well,
we're excited for the rematch. So
the rematch, yes.
For the listeners who weren't, chilling in ranked cord, we did a scrim match about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was kind of a troll game. We drafted a lot of cubes, but we lost. So our record against TGT now is 1-1. So I'm really looking forward to the rematch, really settling that score. They're a tough opponent. We know they're tough. We're going to practice. We're going to lock in. We're going to get everything in set for this match. So I'm really excited.
All
We really need to play an all cubes game someday. We were gonna, but you guys ruined it.
No.
And that's Day from TGT. JA is also here. How do you guys feel about this match, JA?
I mean,
Johnny and Khan,
yeah. Hello, everyone. I gotta start by saying it was a hard match. Especially, we did a lot of blunders, and we know exactly the blunders, so that's like the first step to improvement, is just understanding your mistakes. I think the game was very enlightening, even if we just got absolutely destroyed in the first draft. I mean, we're a new team, as everyone has already said a lot of times. I feel like we are all happy that we got to quarterfinals, like on our first season. But we're also feeling like extremely frustrated about the results of the game, and especially other games in Swiss that we thought we could have won or done better, and we didn't. But I believe in my teammates, and I think that we're gonna use this frustration in a positive manner to just practice a lot, and next season we'll be there as well.
Yeah. I hope to see you guys again, and I hope to see you guys make it even further. And congrats on being the last standing EU team. Congrats on making it this far. And as a team that's not only new, but just all new to ranked, you're all new to ranked. That's an amazing accomplishment, especially against so many like scary teams as well. So yeah, anything you'd like to add, Lemmy?
Yeah, it's definitely good to see more and more people getting interesting and get their hands into the ranked meta, this kind of game mode that encourages teamwork in Genshin Impact, which is a really solo player game. So it's definitely really welcomed here, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next to you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. All right. BLG and JA, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add before we end off the stream?
I'd like to say thank you to JA for coming out here and playing with us. I think, again, you guys definitely had us backed up against a wall for a little bit. We were trying to definitely work things out like midway through draft. I forgot that Sino is kind of a goat when it comes to straight DPS sometimes, so I was a little worried at first. But again, I'm very thankful to be playing against a very established team at this moment. I know you guys are new, but I think I will definitely be seeing you guys around a lot more in the future. I think you guys play pretty well together. So.
I'm gonna throw the glove and say that next season BLG versus JA is gonna happen again. I can guarantee it.
We will not lose. We will not
If
lose.
we both keep winning, we'll eventually face each other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can't wait to see the memes that JA creates now as well.
Oh, absolutely. For those who don't know, JA are all like, they're meme lords in the ranked server, and they create the best memes after every single game that they play. And it is so hilarious. I'm waiting. We're all on the edge of our seat for what you guys are going to cook. I know you will cook something good. As you know, staples of the ranked community now. So yeah, thank you
thanks
so
to
much.
our lovely team leader Johnny.
Of course.
Oh,
All
the
right.
glaze.
Johnny.
But yeah, GG, well played. It was a fun match.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's
Yeah,
and
GG's,
Johnny.
guys.
We're
Yeah.
hitting up the League of Legends after
No,
this,
no,
right?
you can't say slurs like that. You can't say that.
Well,
All right. Well played to JA and congratulations to BLG for winning this quarterfinals match. We will see you in the semis. All right, before we go, big thanks to our refs today, Kyo and Mina, as well as our production staff, Wafer here today, and our sheet ref, Bay, for making this match happen, for regulating everything, for giving us this awesome match today. So
yes.
we will see you in the semis.
We'll see you next week in the semis. And reminder that you can join our Discord at bit.ly/Genshin Ranked if you're interested in playing. We
It's
have
Discord.gg
casual queues
right
every
now,
day.
right?
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, we
That's
have-
not
we
what
have
it says on the Twitch, but
we got the Discord.gg Genshin Rank now. So everybody can
All right.
hop in and say hi.
yeah, come join, come play casual queues every day. Come check out next season, whatever we're cooking. And we'll see you around. Thank you so much, everyone who was here. Ta-ta.
Bye bye.